Hello everyone, we are Heat Construction, and for 33 years we have been building the future of South Florida. We're excited to be talking here today about the Fort Lauderdale Aquatic Center. First, let me introduce the team. We have Andres, our Director of Pre-Construction, myself, the Senior Project Manager, Rodrigo, Nelida, our Senior Safety Manager, and Daniel, our Senior Superintendent. Now, let's talk about the site logistics. We at HIT have identified three main phases for the project. During phase 1, the crane will be located between the diving pool and the competition pool, and the building B area will be used as material staging for the diving tower. During phase 2, the crane will be located on the north side, and it will be used to erect building A and building B. During both phase 1 and 2, the construction entrance will be on the northeast side, the pedestrian entrance will be through the southeast side, and the pedestrian walkway will be through the south. Temporary parking, temporary facilities, and material storage will all be along Plan North. During phase 3, we will erect a fence around the planned sites, and the construction entrance will be through the southeast side. Now, let's talk about the schedule. The moment that HIT Construction gets the NOA, we'll perform GPR and asbestos tests to be able to know all site conditions before our mobilization. During 2024 and 2025, we will perform our site development. We have accounted for the delays due to Addendum 4, and we expect no delays due to Addendum 5. During 2025 and 2026, construction will begin. We have identified the long lead item procurement, and early submittals will be tracking along throughout the project. During 2027 and 2028, construction will be finalizing. Currently, we're showing February 2028 for final completion because of the floods, but due to our due diligence, we have identified extreme weather days, and we will be able to keep on the 1,330 days or calendar days originally given to us. During 2028 and 2029, the building south building will be erected. Currently, it shows a final date of August 9th, 2029. Now, let's talk about concrete. Due to the complex nature of the concrete on the job, HIT Construction intends on self-performing both concrete and CMU. One project we want to highlight is the Miami Museum of Science. In there was a complex cast-in-place sphere where we had to develop the knowledge on how to use free-form formwork to do it. This knowledge will greatly benefit also on some of the more complicated features of the job. Now, finally, the diving tower. The diving tower shop drawings will be obtained early on so that our plumbing subcontractors, electrician subcontractors, handrail subs, and our precast manufacturer can all be able to produce a 3D model with all planned penetrations. In turn, this will be able for us to manufacture the tower with all pre-drilled penetrations, allowing for a much faster install. Now, I'll pass along to Nelly.
Hello, guys. Now we're going to talk about some safety. So, since 2008, construction has experienced the most deaths than any other industry, accounting for 21% of deaths among the U.S. employers. So, what is HIT Construction doing to lower these numbers? Well, we're going to be implementing the hierarchy controls presented by OSHA that encompasses the most to least effective way to deal with hazards. First, we have elimination. Any site will be safer if we just eliminated the risk, like we're going to do with the diving tower. Then we have substitution, and so on. So, given that the museum and the two adjacent buildings are going to be open on the phase 1 of the project, one of our main concerns is the public safety. So, what we're going to do to address this issue is that we're going to effectively redirect traffic of pedestrians away from the construction site, effectively reducing the amount of exposure that they're going to be in. We're going to be implementing on-site security personnel, flaggers, spotters, traffic control, and signage. So, the top hazards on any site will be the big 4. On this side, we have a heightened risk for falls and struck by hazards because of the presence of cranes and the elevator work. So what we're going to do is that we're going to implement PPE and spotters also, while implementing heightened awareness, we'll also doing harnesses, lifelines, and guardrails. So street weather. Because the project is located on the Fort Lauderdale area, we are no strangers to heat, floods, hurricanes. That is why we're going to implement a heat prevention program as well as doing evacuation plans now and then. So, in the object falls, we have excavation and trenching. So because we're going to be excavating 3 pools and then the edge of the site, we have a heightened risk for depth excavations and hidden utility lines. How are we going to address this issue? We're going to be implementing shoring, trenching, and barricading, as well as implementing awareness on proper excavation techniques. Incidents, big or small, happen on the project every day and often go unnoticed because of fear of repercussion or use ignorance. So this is why HIT Construction has made it a top priority to have a 100% incident-free workplace by implementing a near incident reporting app and encouraging open communication. So 24.2 million of hours are lost a year of workers not showing up to work because of incidents. So this does not only concern the safety of our employees, which is their top priority, but it also concerns the schedule and the cost of the project. Now I'll pass it on to Daniel.
Let me give you a little taste of quality control here at HIT Construction. So at HIT Construction, we have a rigorous quality control process, and with that rigorous quality control process, I want to highlight 2 points here: our early submittals and our work inspection and review. So we have identified 2 early submittals on this project that are crucial to the project, that being the dive tower and the dewatering plan. We plan to submit those early due to the importance and complexity of the dive tower and the immense need of dewatering for this project. With this project, the Fort Lauderdale Aquatic Center, we have created, our quality control team has created quality control inspection forms, and I want to highlight here our shotcrete formwork for shotcrete inspection. This is important to the project due to the 3 pools being built, and we want to ensure the quality of those pools and ensure the completion of the project. Here I want to highlight the setting of the precast beams. Setting of the precast beams is important to this project due to we want to avoid all problems. No one likes problems, and we want to avoid that by setting a set of steps to ensure the setting of precast beams is to spec. Here I want to highlight the installation of electrical panels. This project has a complex array of 20+ electrical panels, and with that we want to ensure that the proper installation is met to have a functioning electrical system. Here I want to highlight the liquid applied roofing. At HIT Construction, we have quality control inspection forms to help mitigate the effects of installation and providing our clients satisfaction. And here's our record of performance. It speaks for ourselves. Our successful work across the country has given us countless relationships with multiple clients and led to multiple awards across the country. And now I'm going to pass it over to our pre-construction director.
Thank you, Daniel. And so now we're going to discuss the pre-construction services that we do over at HIT Construction. And we start really with relationships, which is really important for us. The subs and the relationship with them will ensure the success for the Aquatic Center and for the Aquatic Center. What we do is that we identify specific scopes of work where we need to bring our trade partners, and from there we do a rigorous selection of our subs. Now we also, whenever we receive the contract documents, we start doing some value engineering. This allows us to provide you guys, the judges, some additional suggestions on how to make this building more efficient and how to save in the cost. A good example would be for the new south building. Instead of doing a slab for the second floor and joists and lightweight concrete in the roof, we suggested to do shotcrete. Core slab, I'm so sorry. Now, on the technology, we implemented 6 different softwares in our estimate. This was done so that we can provide a very accurate estimate, and then on top of that, we also wanted to make sure that we identify risks before they happen. Because we're in Fort Lauderdale, basically you could go, and it's a peninsula, you could go in with a shovel and with just 2 scoops drain the water. So what we did is that we screened the whole site so that we can make decisions for our dewatering plan. Another software that we use is Smart Build. Even though this project is not awarded to us yet, we already have a submittal log, and we've been keeping all our documents in this software. This is allowing us and helping us helping us setting up the project for success. Now, as far as the cost distribution of the project, here we're touching a pie chart with all the distribution, being the cost drivers, the diving tower at 18%, the GCs and the new south building at 17 and 16% respectively. And our total cost, estimated cost for the project is $45,107,505. Thank you so much, and we're open for some questions.
What's your plan to kind of mitigate risk with long lead items such as switchgear and panels and lighting?
So not only have we already identified those items, and we have already, we're going to start the procurement process early into the job. For the Musco lighting, we have pushed that back as far back as possible to ensure that the fabrication and delivery could be on time. Due to the fact that we needed the switch lighting early, we gave it a year, roughly, so we could obtain those equipment and install them on time.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? My apologies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When developing your Phase 2 site logistics plan, did you take into account the space needed to erect scaffolding to put the CMU up and make sure that you've got enough room behind the scaffolding, you fence, and then 4 feet off the main pool? It seems like a pretty tight site to be able to fit all that. Was that taken into consideration?
My apologies, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, was your Site 2 logistics plan developed with the understanding that you're going to have to install CMU scaffolding to erect that building and still maintain a 4-foot clearance off of the pools that would be active at the time?
We did miss that detail, so it was not developed with that in mind.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any float in the project schedule to account for any unforeseen condition and or for us to implement any changes without any effect on the finish date?
Yes, we currently, one of the float items that we did was the extreme weather days, because we were accounting for some, unforeseen events, and that one was used. We used that one to keep our completion dates, but we also do have some ideas of how to obtain some more. That would be through doing the competition pool and the diving pool simultaneously, as opposed to how they are sequenced right now, one after the other. So we do have some leeway on how we could account for and make up for some floats on the schedule. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
What do you see as the biggest challenge on this project?
The biggest challenge for this project really comes down to the site. Being so small and the location of it, there's a lot of restrictions as far as space. So we had to come up with a good sequence. That's why the project management team and pre-construction had to meet several times to make sure that we keep consistency in between both plans. We account in the pre-construction side for every single cost, and then they account for everything in the schedule. Now I'm gonna leave Nelly too.
Yeah, from a safety standpoint, I feel like one of the biggest challenges is keeping the workers safe, just because of what Andres said. Such a tight space and surrounded by water and boats from owners that are not related to the project. It's a big challenge for us to, coordinate every task together for us to keep the workers safe while also performing our tasks. I'm gonna pass it to Daniel.
Another big challenge the quality control team identified on this project would be ensuring that the quality of that dive tower is kept up with. We want to provide the owner with the quality piece that they need, and this dive tower being a centerpiece of this entire project, we want to ensure that everything is to spec and every installation is met and use the right industry process, and we're just trying to ensure the quality of that centerpiece that the owner is paying for on this project.
And one more thing is, we have identified, due to Addendum 4, one of the biggest challenges will be the spacing to erect the new building. One thing that we have proposed will be, if the notice to proceed would be able to be given right after we finish erecting or right before we start erecting our building A, we would have enough time to do the south building together, right, sequentially to building A, allowing us to not have to deal with such a tight space to erect such a big building in that tight space.
As it pertains to your contract with us, Do you have any issue with the liquidated damages stipulations that you would like to discuss at this time, or are you okay with that?
As stated on the step 1 RFP, we have no, step 1 submittal, we have no opposition to it.
Thank you.
Working in South Florida comes with a lot of inclement weather, specifically rain. So when it comes to all of your dewatering activities, did you guys take this into account, and did you size your tanks and your pumps accordingly?
We did. Part of our pre-construction service, like I said, was to run the rock deck. In this, we did a screening of the site so that we can identify site conditions. We also built the coffer dams like it was requested in the drawings. Everything was priced and scheduled with the project management team. We did take into account and carried costs for every single thing that was related to the dewatering process. Because, like I said in my presentation, being that we are basically in the water, this was a big factor for us. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
And to add on to that point, the entire team has previous experience in Florida working on pools. So that also takes into account, our experience just takes into account things like that. And that's the value we provide to owners.
How do you guys plan on maintaining community relations and mitigating disruption to neighboring businesses and the community around the site?
First of all, our site utilization plan for both phases will only use the main construction entrance. Of course, that will involve more trucks there, and we will have some disruptions, but we don't imagine that will cause any big disruptions. We will put signage around, and we will inform the city of Fort Lauderdale before any big deliveries, such as the diving tower with the big precast pieces of it. One more thing, we already have on the schedule reflected a shutdown date so we can do the water main on the Seabreeze Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. So we also have, and we can discuss with ownership if we want to change, if we need to move that date to some other dates that is more convenient. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Thank you. And to add on to that, the community, this project is a big centerpiece for Fort Lauderdale, and we're really focused on the community and bringing together, like, bringing many people across the world. This is a world-renowned diving tower that we're talking about, and that when we were scheduling, estimating everything we went through, every process we went through, was our first thought was the community.
Yes, to add on to that, on the safety standpoint again, a big part of being part of the community is taking care of its members. So given the Addendum 5 being a big boat exposition, we have already accounted of ways on how to adapt and shift our plans on the safety standpoint, and I feel like everyone else, and we're gonna take that as, as a floor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andres, over here.
That's me.
What efforts will Hit Construction take to ensure that we're getting the highest quality contractors that are available? What's your bid process, your sub-outreach? What does that look like?
So we go out to bid using Building Connected. So we send proposals to many subcontractors. Then we make sure that we scope every single one of them. And on top of that, that helps us just accounting for every possible scope gap. Because we're based in Miami and we're so close to the area, we also have relationships with the subcontractors that work around this area and have experience in these types of projects. Like I mentioned in my presentation, a big part of it is that we have trade partners. So it's subcontractors that really have been working with us for many years and really allow us to perform at the highest level in similar projects to this one. Thank you.
And to add on to his point, our previous experience with pools here in Florida has just helps lead to that subcontractor outreach. We have partners that we know we can go to and that they're going to be reliable and they will deliver on this project for the client.
As a technologically advanced company, did your team use AI or chat GTP to put together any part of your RFP or presentation? This does not weigh on your scoring. We're asking everyone, we're just curious.
We did not. However, we do believe we are cutting edge in technology. We did use drones to take the pictures that you guys saw in there. We did use 6 different softwares. We are trying to give the best value to the owner, and for that reason, we implement the best technology that it's available. However, ChatGPT, we believe is not there yet for what we're trying to provide. But when the technology gets there, we for sure will be able to give you ChatGPT.
To add on to that point, not ChatGPT related, but technology related, we are a very advanced company in the means of adapting to new technologies. And I wanted to highlight the near incident reporting app that we created and implementing across the company. And that has shown statistically to improve safety around their work site. So we are staying up to trends. Thank you.
When putting together your risk management plan, what is the highest risk activity?
The highest
construction activity.
The highest risk is going to be the diving tower erection. It's simply because it is in a pivotal moment on the schedule. It is going to hold up the pool deck from being done, both pools from being done and started. So that is going to be the biggest risk that we have identified. Because of that, we're looking to getting the coordination so early on to allow us the manufacturing with the pre-drilled holes, as I discussed before. And that will also lead to a much faster install than if we had to do a plumbing, electrical roughing every time we put in another piece. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's concern about the discharge of water. How are you planning on dewatering the pools as you excavate, and where's that water going to go?
For the dewatering process, we are going to be going through a series of sedimentation tanks, and we will be discharging into the intercoastal waterway. We will have a monitoring system installed on the discharge point, getting us real-life data over the turbidity of the water to ensure that everything's up to date and up to standards. I'll pass along to Andres to follow up.
And just following up on what he just said, we had some meetings in pre-construction with the project team. All the things that he just mentioned can be found as part of the spec section for dewatering. It specifies exactly where we are supposed to dump the water and then the filters that we're supposed to put in place. Thank you.
Also, as the safety manager, I also care about the environment and just keeping everyone safe, also by all being a responsible company. So we are all stormwater and sediment inspectors, so we are all ready to, inspect every day on site. Every day we walk on site, not necessarily whenever we're performing an expansion, but just walking around site, we're always looking out for any damages to our stormwater management control.
Is there any pieces of equipment on this project that you see as a risk regarding long lead times that could possibly delay our schedule?
Yes, as the mechanical rooms will not, so my apologies. For the mechanical rooms, which would usually be the main point of risk and concern, we have accounted for those. It will not delay the schedule, but it will delay when we can stop dewatering. So it will increase the cost, but it will not cause a schedule delay. All other equipment, we have scheduled it as far back as possible to allow time for the installation and for the production and delivery as much as possible, so we don't see any other items besides the pool and mechanical pushing the dewatering date.
Is that cost impact included in your estimate currently, or will that be a change order?
I'll let Andres discuss that one.
It is. So in the estimate, we are accounting for 2 extra months of dewatering. Over 4 years, it might not seem like a lot, but we're not expecting to have this issue. So in case that we do not use this money, it would be given back to the owner. It would almost work as a CM at risk, where basically we would carry the cost, and then as soon as the activities are finished, we would just take our percentage of profit and then give everything else to the owners. Does that answer your question? Awesome, thank you.
Have you guys done any coordination with any utility providers during the proposal process to provide any dates for service availabilities?
We have looked into the pool or the two biggest ones that we looked at were a pool subcontractor we talked with. He ensured that the pool underground utilities would be able to be done on time. Our pool or overall site utilities would be able to be pushed back in case of fabrication without a delay to the schedule. I'll let Natalie discuss a little bit further.
Thank you. To add on to that, we're gonna be, before any work commences, we're gonna be using Sunshine 811 to locate any utilities on site. So whenever we're excavating, we're aware of that risk. And because of the age of the site, like I said on the presentation, we may encounter some unlocated utilities. So we already have a plan in place to deal with those. Thank you.
And to add on to that, we've also coordinated with FPL as we know that their equipment is on site, and our project executive actually used to work at FPL and has a long relationship with them, which just makes that process a little easier and overall more value for the client.
And my apologies. Natalie mentioned the GPR exams that we will do. There is some time between our excavation and our dewatering process to start. That time is used as flow time in case we do find any hidden utilities that we were not expecting.
Okay, well, thank you. With that, we will be concluding our question and answer session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you all.